Scott MacFarlane joins me now with the latest on the Clintons, Bill and Hillary, now asking the House Oversight Committee for a public hearing, saying it will, quote, suit their concerns about fairness. Scott, catch us up.
They're going to appear in a closed-door deposition with the House Oversight Committee February 26th and 27th. Doing the math, it's about 3 weeks from now. The Clintons, according to their spokesperson, were trying to do this in the public space, in front of cameras, in a televised way, from soup to nuts. That's the same thing Jack Smith was arguing for months when he was questioned by a House committee. There's this kind of new concern about the clipping and socializing of excerpts of things that I think the Clintons are sensitive to, and they don't want to be taken out of context when they talk whatever they have to say about Epstein.
Speaking of Epstein, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche was on Fox, said this about names that appear and whatever reputational damage may or may not come from that. Listen.
It is not a crime to party with Mr. Epstein. And so as horrible as it's not a crime to email with Mr. Epstein. And some of these men may have done horrible things. And if we have evidence that allows us to prosecute them, you better believe we will.
Scott, the public could be forgiven for getting a little confused about the tenacity of potential future prosecutions, because I keep hearing different things from senior Justice Department officials. It's over, there's no other leads to follow, there's nobody else to prosecute, and then conditionally, well, if we find something, we may do something.
It also runs counter to what the Department of Justice said in a memo in July 2025. They issued a memo trying to put an end to this, saying there are no more investigative leads or value in releasing the files.
An emphatic two-page memo.
Yeah, a declarative statement that there's nothing more there. Now you see a bit of equivocating with the release of the files, and I think there's this outcry from survivors, including their representatives. Jennifer Freeman, an attorney for survivors, spoke to us earlier today saying it doesn't look from these files so far like there were vigorous investigations of the people whose names are there. I think there's no work product of, well, did you chase this down? Did you chase that down? These questions are going to linger, and I think this story as a process story for the Trump administration is going nowhere. I'm not sure how they button this up, because whether they release more files or not, they're going to be accused of covering things up or not being diligent or being sloppy in their work. It's hard to get that toothpaste back in the tube.
Moments ago, the president got a couple of questions on this in the Oval Office. He said he thought it was time for the nation to move on to other things. To your point from a moment ago, that doesn't appear procedurally possible. We had a long conversation on this program last night, Scott, on a procedural matter that is before the court about taking all this information down. Do we know anything more about where that stands?
There's a conference tomorrow at the federal courthouse in Manhattan where some of the survivors and their representatives have asked a judge to intervene, perhaps help grease the wheels for an order to the Department of Justice to do this. I'm not sure that judge feels he's empowered to make that kind of order of the Department of Justice, especially in the matter in front of him. There's always the possibility that some public pressure on the Department of Justice may get them to take this thing down, or maybe some self-interest by the Department of Justice to take this thing down because they're getting a lot of incoming over process over the last 48 hours.
They could take it down, they could scrub it again, redact the things that need to be redacted, take the redactions off things that clearly don't need to be redacted, and perhaps reintroduce it to the public. That might be something that attorneys and survivors would welcome. Scott MacFarlane, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you.